one of the things we work on a lot is the mindset stuff.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, mindset is one of the basics for success, the way I see it.
yeah. What do you think the difference is in mindset versus working a job versus having an internet business?
To me, it's sort of like that there's no ceiling, right? There's no ceiling as far as how much money you can make. You are the ceiling, and which means that your perception of what is possible is the ceiling.
Yeah.
Once you break that ceiling and you're like, look, I can make more money, then you just keep growing and growing, and that's what's exciting about being an entrepreneur. That you literally
set your own
you're
limit.
Like, hey, you know, there's billionaires out there. They're entrepreneurs. There's no reason why I can't be one.
You can't be a billionaire working in a job.
You can't do it. Yeah, it's a big difference. You know,
Yeah.
Now if you have a job, you basically. It basically makes you dependent, right? It's like a dependency that makes you comfortable, and it makes it so you're like, okay, I have this every month, and you start to depend on it, and then like you can't really make big increments, you know, like you can't. I mean, yeah, like people get a raise, and how much do they get? Like 10% per year or something.
Yeah.
So
oh my God.
So it's like very hard to grow that to you know, in every job, if you start getting paid like over, I don't know, 250,000, 500,000 a year, you'll basically start hitting a roof where they're gonna replace you. They're gonna be looking at replacing you for a cheaper, younger option, maybe, you know, and I think that being an entrepreneur, you just can create so much value for you know, for other people, that you just, the more value you bring, you can start hiring people, and basically it's all in how you basically view the world, and that's what's so key about the mindset, you know.
Well, no, I think you're right. Like entrepreneurs, the difference is there's no ceiling. There's no ceiling, and it's a totally different mindset. The biggest thing that I realized working a job, I mean, the last job I worked before I became an entrepreneur was, let's go down to the end. But the biggest thing I realized when I was working a job, my last job, I was making $6,000 a month. And I was making the company I worked for $120,000 profit every month. But they never wanted to pay me more because the thing was, they get you comfortable. The whole purpose of a job is to give you just enough money to make you feel comfortable. Yeah. And I mean, $6,000 a month, you have enough money to have an apartment, a nice apartment. You have enough money to eat out every weekend. But you're never going to they give you just enough to never let you get ahead in life. At $6,000 a month, you're never gonna own a nice house. You're never gonna be able to live where you want to. You're never gonna be able to get out of that trap. One of the bigger hurdles I had to overcome was going from, and I mean, you might be able to speak to this because I don't think you ever really you didn't have a job that was paying you more than $300 a month. But one of the big hurdles I'd overcome was like $6,000 a month when I was 23 years old. It was nice, and it keeps you just comfortable enough where you're like, okay, I can sit back, I can plan, but you're never going to get ahead.
Why do people do that, right? Because first of all, it's hard, right? It can be hard if you don't know what you're doing, starting a business. How do you make
it's confusing?
It's confusing, and then how do you get that stability on your own, right? How can you bring like a steady income that's going to be $6,000 or more? You know, so at the beginning it's very stressful, and people think they need a lot of money to get started, and there's all these ups and downs of being an entrepreneur that a lot of people they get freaked out.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why you get a job and it's easier. Your life is like, all right, now I can plan out and maybe save a couple $100.
Yeah.
But it's a different mindset where you get used to that, and there's a different mindset between like, okay, I am doing this on my own. I gotta make this amount of money regardless, and I gotta grow a company.
Yeah.
You know? So that's it can be very scary if you don't know what you're doing, and that's why you basically created a course that teaches people how to do that, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the biggest problem, I mean, why we're shooting these videos for Internet Jetset is because one of the biggest problems I had when I was working a job was that everybody I surrounded myself with, everybody around me when I was working a job, they also worked a job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody, I was in a big office building. Everybody I hung out with, all the girls I flirted with, all the people I went to lunch or happy hour with,
everybody
they all worked jobs. That's your entire life when you're working a job. So there was nobody that could teach me how to be an entrepreneur. And guess what? The boss I was working for, who I was making all of the money for, he didn't fucking give a shit.
He didn't care at all.
He didn't give a
wanted you to
shit.
stay that way.
He wanted to stay. He was making $100,000, $200,000 a month, and he just wanted to pay me $6,000 a month. Why would he teach me how to basically leave him because I was making him all this money?
Yeah.
It made no sense. There was no incentive for him.
Yeah. And do you think as a person that's hiring people, right? If you're hiring, how do you go about that? Like, I mean, do you think that's too low, or do you think being generous is better if you are the one that's hiring people as an entrepreneur?
Hiring people as an entrepreneur, I mean, personally,
do you think he did something wrong?
No. Actually, I don't think he did anything wrong because it's in his best interest to pay me as little as possible. Yeah. The system is set up is bosses want to pay their employees as little as possible. That's the whole model. And they want employees that are going to stay in their role and not go anywhere and just keep doing that thing forever. Just have enough to be comfortable.
Yeah.
That's why if you're looking to be an entrepreneur and you think the path to that is working a job, you're fucking out of your mind. You're killing yourself in the very start. And that's what people don't realize. They say, I'm going to work a different job where I'm going to learn. No. The way to be an entrepreneur is not working a job for somebody better. It's to just start being an entrepreneur. Yeah. It's to learn from somebody. That's why we're creating these videos.
Because like you do hear people that are like, well, I learned something. And, you know, I guess in some cases it may be some learning experiences. But ultimately, there's no substitute to actually doing it.
No.
Where you go like, okay, I'm going to just start off. And you're going to see like just at what level you are as an entrepreneur. You know?
Yeah.
It's a whole different, but like, here's a question, like,
yeah.
How do you go, what do you suggest to somebody that has a job, maybe, I don't know, like they make $6,000, what do they do? What would you have them do if they want to be a successful entrepreneurs?
Follow a system to start replacing their income. You have to, no matter what it is, they have to start doing something entrepreneurial to start replacing that income. Get their expenses down, to the bare minimum for living, and find a way to replace that income.
Yeah. In my mentorship, what I basically tell people is that you need to, if you're let's say if you want to be an online marketer, right, and you want to have like a consistent revenue, just try to get $100 a day, right?
Yeah,
try to get
yeah, that's a
your
good point.
first $100 a day, and that's an achievable goal. It's not
Yeah.
like some crazy number. It can be 1 to 3 sales, and you're like, get your first $100 day, and
Yeah.
and then get that consistent, and then you basically just keep growing from there, you know.
Yeah.
But you want to see some success before you jump, right?
You need to see some success before you jump. That's why literally the first, I mean, this is really funny, but literally the first video in my internet Jetset course is showing people how to make money within the first 2 hours of joining my course.
Wow.
That, you know, with
powerful.
Amazon and Facebook.
That's powerful.
You know, we go over the, you know what we do. We're showing people basically Amazon and Facebook and how to take products from Amazon
Yeah.
and use it to
I've
make
seen
money
you-
on Facebook.
I've seen you do it.
Yeah,
I've seen
yeah,
you
yeah.
do it in just like what, 20 minutes or something.
Well, it's the easiest way, because when people see their first sale, when
The
people
first
see their
sale
first
is
sale,
what breaks
it's
like a
fucking
mental ceiling, you know. For
Yeah.
you. It's like, okay, this is possible. This just became real, you know.
It became, yeah.
So you basically help people do that within the first 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it gives them that confidence to really go on this path, right? Because it's, yeah, I love it.
Well, if people don't make, if people have to go through a complicated system to even make their first commissions online, if people have to set up expensive software and set up a website and set up, you know, and buy all these other things, plugins, and set up in Shopify and all this stuff, what happens is people never end up doing it all, and they think it doesn't work. You know, if you get somebody their first sale, you know, that's why I get people their first sales within the first 2 hours, because then they believe. The first, I mean, I think the first thing for mindset is belief. Knowing that you can make money as an entrepreneur and online. And when you start believing, your life is completely changed forever. I mean, how was it for you when you first started making your first? Do you remember when you made your first commission?
Oh yeah.
When was that?
I left. Yeah, I basically watched this tutorial, and they said to try Google Ads, so I did, and I promoted like a ringtone, right?
Okay.
And it was like a simple page where I was like, hey, you know.
You're
like,
recommending people to download ringtones?
Yeah, and
okay.
I left it. And was working really hard to even set it up. So I set it up, and my friends were like, hey, let's go to the beach for a couple days. So I just left it and took off. And then when I came back, I was like so blown away, because I made $580.
What?
Yeah,
Are you serious?
I made $580 that weekend, and I was like, what? Like,
recommending people to buy ringtones.
Yeah, like ringtones.
What year is this?
This is like, oh man, 2005 or yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like.
The ringtones were a
ago.
thing.
Yeah, the ringtones were definitely a thing. They became even bigger after that. So yeah, basically I just did that, and I was so blown away. I mean, I'll never forget it. And you know what's funny? People around me were like, that they're not gonna pay you.
Yeah.
Because it was in Guatemala, so nobody had
your
seen,
commissions.
Nobody has seen anybody make money on the internet. So I was like, I did it, and everybody was, you know, you're not gonna get that check. So that's like that's like a scam. You're for sure not gonna get paid. And I was like, no, I will. Took them 2 months to send me the check, but when I got it, I was like, oh my god, like I have it framed. And,
no way.
Yeah, just really. It was definitely a memorable moment.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think everybody does. You know, do you remember your first sale? Like,
yeah.
What was it like?
My first sale online was ridiculous. It was actually, I was using eBay classifieds. I took out, you could post stuff in eBay, But I decided to just take out a classifieds ad in eBay. It was like a little section, and you pay 99 cents for a classifieds ad in eBay. But it still showed up when you searched for things. So I paid 99 cents, and I posted that I had the mystery method. And because I had bought this pickup artist course called the mystery method, and you know. And it's a program about how to talk to women better, and it goes over, you know, different ways to basically start a relationship with a woman that you don't know. So I had this program. I'd bought it used for like $400, and I put it on eBay, and I sold it used for $400. So then I said. And I realized, holy shit, like, but the thing that happened was I'd bought it used, but it was a copy. Somebody had just sent me a copy of the program. So I said, why don't I just create my own copy of the program and send that to people?
Yeah.
And I sent it out. And the person emailed me back. I said, you know, I emailed the person and I messaged they said, okay, I sent it to you. And then they messaged me a couple days later and they're like, oh, thanks, I got it. This is so exciting. I was like, I could keep the classified ad on.
Keep selling.
And it was actually still on and still sell it. And I went on to start selling one of these programs every week. And I was like, I'm making $400, but he had like a big binder, so I was actually photocopying. I photocopied everything in the binder, and I copied all the DVDs. There's like 20 DVDs, so it cost me like all in, like to replicate everything. It cost me like $100 or $80 at the time. But I just kept replicating it every week, and I was like, oh my God, I'm making $400 a week from this 99 cents classified listing on eBay. And I was like,
there's something here.
What? And I was only getting paid $6.75 an hour at the time, working like 14 hours a week.
Wow.
So I was like,
how much was that a week? Like,
oh,
it's about
14 hours. Yeah, 14 hours a week. So that's seven. I was making, well, after taxes, I was making more money selling the one DVD course than I was working my job, which took me 14 hours a week. I was making more money in like 2 to 3 hours that it took me to replicate this. And I was like, oh my God, what if I could sell 10 of these a week? Basically, I started selling stuff on eBay, and I'm not gonna go too far into that, but it took a mindset shift where I realized, holy shit, this isn't about my time anymore. Like, everything that I'd believed up until that point was that to make more money, you had to put more time in. And when I overcame the limiting belief that I was like, how many hours defines how much money you make, I was just blown away, and I was like, oh my God, I can make as much money as I choose to make. Yeah, and that's powerful. That's the moment an entrepreneur is born, basically. Yeah. I mean, the way I look at it is like, okay, you have your time, right? You have your limited amount of time, and then it's more like how smart you are in investing your time, right? So if you invested in a job, you're basically not a good investor of your time. You're capped. Yeah. Yeah, like you're not using your time properly. So it's better to spend that time and invest it on educating yourself and basically doing marketing tests where you find where there's a lot of money to be made,
and then you don't have to spend that much of it. It's just more, you know, it's more valuable to spend your time there, and it pays off a lot more. Basically, how many hours were you working a week on this, you know, on the eBay? Just a couple hours.
It was ridiculous. It was
yeah.
just a little side thing I threw up because I was still going to school at the time and I was working a job, and this was just a side thing I did, and I was blown away. The biggest problem is people get themselves locked into a job or a wage, an hourly wage or a job. You just stagnate there. If you're earning a wage or a salary, you're just allowing yourself to stagnate.
Yeah, you're basically frozen in terms of progress, because you're selling your time, so you can't really use it to grow your own business. You're like, okay, like I need to do what they tell me.
Yeah.
And their best interest is the company or themselves, you know, not your career or not you making more money.
Yeah. People don't realize it when they're locked in. So if you're watching this, the first thing is if you're earning a wage, if you're earning a salary, you're screwing yourself over. You have to get out of that. The biggest mindset shift you have to understand to really transform your wealth is you have to get out of the mindset of having to earn a wage or a salary. You have to get out of that. You have to start moving towards being an entrepreneur. And I mean, the video we're shooting just now is basically we're teaching this in the Internet Jetset course of how to get out of that, how to start yourself as an entrepreneur with your own web business that runs completely independently of your time that you put in it. The internet's 24/7. The internet's open for business 24/7, whether you're awake, whether you're sleeping, whether you're on a jet ski, whether you're traveling. So you gotta put yourself in a different mind state to tap into that sort of wealth. The next video, we're gonna go over how important it is to surround yourself with a community of people, with other like-minded people, and lock yourself into something where you can network with other entrepreneurs, and why it's important to join programs or masterminds or courses or forums that bring you together with other entrepreneurs that are gonna help you move forward, as opposed to coworkers and other employees that are gonna keep you held back. Make sure to comment or like below this video. If you're watching this, there should be a button. If you're ready to start on Internet Jetset right now, make sure there's a link somewhere around this video where you can get started right now and start learning these techniques that are going to create your online business. It's a step-by-step program where I'm here with you every step of the way, showing you exactly what you need to do to create your own online income, to create wealth for you and your family that lasts.